Hey everyone. Anybody that knows me realizes or should know that I'm not really big into huge displays of corner case scenarios. However, in the confines of creating this idea of summarization in EIGRP, we do need to make certain that we at least acquaint ourselves with a possible set of circumstances that we may find that manifest themselves in our environment. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about summarizing prefixes that are not originated on the router where I'm doing the summarization. Let's illustrate this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say on R22, I'm going to create loopback 1000. I'm going to give loopback 1000 an IP address of 172.22.22/24. I'm also going to go over to R2 and give it a loopback 1000, LO 1000, and I'm going to give it the IP address of 172.122.2/24. I'm going to advertise each of these into EIGRP such that they should be advertised out of our neighbor connections. Now in this deployment, I'll highlight the connections that I have so that we can see exactly what's connected to what. I'm not running any type of EIGRP peering between R2 and R3. Now let's take a look at exactly what goes into this process. First, let's create those loopbacks and advertise them. So on R22, I'm going to say config T interface LO 1000, and I'm going to say IP address 10. No, actually I said I was going to create 172.122.20/24, and we need to advertise it. So router EIGRP 10 network 172.31.00.00255.255. Just to play around with some different mask configurations. So now let's go to R2 and do the same configuration. So config T, interface LO 1000, IP address 172.31.2.2.255.255.255.0, router EIGRP 10, and let's advertise that. Let's say network 172.31.2.2 will match this one exactly, just to play around with the different masks. So now let's go to R1 and see what we see in our routing table. Show IP route, and let's see if we have presence of networks for 172.31.22 and .2, and that's what we see here. We see .2 and we see .22. Now when we look at this, let's go ahead and see if we can't modify the situation. I'm going to go to R22, and I'm going to go to interface serial 21, and I'm going to shut this interface down. So I want to source all of my prefix information only via the link to R2. So what happens is that gets rid of this link right here. So now, as you can see, I've got a straight line going across and down. So when I go to R1 and I do my show IP route for these two prefixes, now I only have one way to go. All right. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go to R2, and on the interface pointing to Cat1, which is going to be my next hop towards R1, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and do a summarization. I'm going to take these two prefixes and I'm going to summarize them as a 172.31.0.0/16 prefix. Let's see what ends up happening on that interface after we do that configuration. So on R2, which interface is connected to Cat1? Show CDP neighbors. I can see it's Ethernet 03. So what I'll do is I'll go under interface Ethernet 03, config T, interface E03, and what am I going to do? I'm going to do IP summary address, and I'm going to say EIGRP, and what I want to do is I want to say the autonomous system number, and I'm going to specify the address that I want to advertise. So it's going to be 172.16.00. I want to advertise this as a /16, so it'll be 255.255.0.0. Now, with that being done, I'm going to resync my link. Everything should come back up with regard to my configuration, And what will happen now is when I go over to R1 and I execute my show IP route command, what am I going to see? Well, let's see here. I have these prefixes here, 31. Let's make sure I did the right config. See what I did? I got such a bad habit of doing this. Somebody should have spotted that. So I'll say no. And it's supposed to be 31, not 16. Now, the reason that I use these interfaces and I repeat these mistakes, and I do it a lot, is because that's what Cisco's going to do. Cisco's going to ask you to use addresses that we don't normally work with. As an example, anything that we don't normally work with. Most of the times whenever I do practicing in labs, especially to demonstrate stuff, I have a tendency to use EIGRP 10. Cisco may ask you to use EIGRP 1 as an autonomous system, just simply to force you to have to do something different. It becomes very, very easy for us to repeat mistakes like what I just made, where 172.16 is what I've been using for all of my other loopbacks, and now I did this 172.31 and I forgot to do the config. So now with this being done on R1, let's see what we have in our routing table. Notice now I have that individual /16 prefix, and what I see here is notice I can ping 172.31.0, see 22.22, and I should be able to ping 2.2. So I was pinging R22 and R2. Let's do a trace route. So trace route to those same prefixes, 172.31.22.22. Notice it terminated on 2.2.2.2. So 222, 222, so that's going to be cat 22. And when I come up here and say 2.2, that should terminate on R2. Now, the interesting component here is this. Notice what's happened here. On this device and on this device, let's take a look at the configurations that we have. So show IP route. And what we see here is like I said, I have this single or this individual prefix. But when we go over to R2 and we take a look at what's going on here, let's do something here. Let's say show IP alias. And notice what we have here. We have 10.1.222.2 and show IP route. Okay, we're doing a summarization here, and what I want to point out is notice the system said, well, didn't mean to do that. Notice the system, iOS, is telling us that we created a null 0 prefix for 172.31.0.0/16. Now my issue here is this. What's happening with my traffic? So let's go over to R22. Config T, do show access list, and I'm going to create an access list of 100 that's going to block out EIGRP. So it'll be access-list 100 deny EIGRP any. Then I'm going to go ahead and just permit IP any. And let's do a debug. So debug, IP packet, detail, and what I want to see here is the fact that I'm going to use this 100 access list. So show access list. Okay, I'm getting matches. So I'm denying traffic. Did I do this on Cat 1? Yes, I certainly did. I did not mean to do that. Let's do this on 22. Show access list. Config T. Access-list 100 deny EIGRP any. And I want to access-list 100 permit IP any. Debug IP packet detail using access list 100. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go to R1, and I want to see what's going on here with my trace routes. So first of all, let's just do a ping. So I'm going to ping 192.172.31.2.2. And I have a successful response. I have 5 ICMP echo replies coming back, which is always a good thing. Let's do a trace route. 172.31.2.2. And what do we see? We see that our device goes up to 11 and up to R2. So it's going to be Cat 1 and Cat 2. All right, now looking at this, let's go ahead and repeat our verification here and say that I want to do a trace route. Let's see here. Let's not do a trace route. Let's do a ping. So let's see if I can ping 172.31.22.22. I'm pinging. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. Notice that my trace it came sourced from 172.31.22, and it went out to destination 10.1.1011 on R22, and it was able to send my packet. So I was able to get everything to go through and to send information back and forth. Now let me double check something here. Show run, include IP route. Now the issue here is that fact that this prefix that I have on R1 is known in my table. So show IP route one second here. So show IP route, no, show run pipe include IP route. Do I have a configuration in here? No, I do not. Not on R1. What about on R2? Do or show run pipe include IP route. Nope, everything's good to go. But what I need to notice here is the fact that this prefix that I have, show IP route for 172.31.00. Let's see what we've got here. Notice I see 172.31.00, which is a summary route to null 0. I also have my 172.31.20/24, which is directly connected. And I also see I'm learning via EIGRP a /24 prefix that is going to be my /16. Now when I look at this, what I need to recognize here is I could possibly have an issue. Now the reason that I'm pointing this out is that notice that I have a /24 here and a /16 here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to R22 and I'm going to re-advertise this loopback 1000 as a /16. And let's see what happens here. So let's do this. So config T interface LO 1000 IP address 172.31.22.22. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to advertise this as a /16. Actually, no, let's do this. Let's advertise this as a /8 and see what happens. Okay, it's overlapping with 100 with 172. Oh, yeah. Can't do it that way. So I'm going to have to advertise it as at least a 16. So let's do this. Instead of a 16, let's advertise it as a /20. How do I want to do that? 248. No, it'd be 240. No, let's go 248. All right, so now I've got this prefix. And now I want to look at this prefix that I'm advertising. Let's go back over to R1, show IP route. And what do we see here? We see that we have the summary Now let's see if we have reachability to this. Show IP route, or not show IP route, let's ping. So you'll ping 172.31.2.2. Can I hit 22.22? Now I've got a problem. Now, what is my problem? What's generating this problem? Well, what's generating this problem is the fact that my summary that I'm creating has that automatic process whereby we create a null route, and that null route, or that default route, goes to null 0. Let's look at that. On R2, let's go ahead and pipe this up again. Show IP route 172.31.0.0. Notice it's 16, and the only entries that I have in my table now are my summary, my /16. I have my R2's prefixes, but I do not have R22's prefixes. Now let's look at this. Can I ping 172.31.22.22? No, I can't. Now the issue here is the fact of the matter, and that's going to be that R22 is advertising a /16. I'm sending a summary. I'm sorry, we're advertising this as a, it was a slash, it's not a /16. Let me bring my cheat list back up here. Nope, I took it all down. So I'll just draw my number line out real fast. Excuse me, I'll just draw my number line out real fast. So 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. It's going to be 128, 192, 224, 240, 248, 252, 254, and 255. Now when I did my summarization, let's see, how did I do it? I did how did I do the summarization? So let's take a look at R2 again. Show run interface E30. E03. There we go. And I advertised this one as a straight 16. On R22, we did it as a 48. So that was going to be that would be 248. So we're advertising this at less than 16. So it would be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it would be a /13. So the /16 is longer than the /13. So what's happened here is on R2, by virtue of the fact that I have that null 0 is now grabbing it and black holing my traffic. So what I could do to fix this is create something that's referred to as a floating summary. So the question is how do I do that? Well, what I would do is I would have to create a static route on R2. I would say config T, and I'd say IP route, and I would specify 172.31.222 or 22.22. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to reach this 255, 255, 255, 255, this specific prefix, I want you to send this information to 10.1.222.222, no, be, yeah, 222. And now let's see what happens. So I'll go back over to R1, and let's see if I can actually ping it now. And see, I actually have the reachability information. Why? Because on R2, now if I end, and I take a look at anything that's going to encompass, anything that's going to encompass this prefix, now what we see is I have my /16 going to 0. I have the /24 for my connected, which means that's what I'm going to use because 24 is longer than 16. And now notice on this device right here on R2, I've created a host route going to this destination. And since this mask is exact, it's a host mask, and it is greater than this mask, I'm now avoiding my black hole by not sending my traffic to null 0. So as you can see, this is referred to as a floating summary because the summary is actually not making it to the decision process based on the fact that I now have a longer match. Is this something you're going to probably run into in the confines of the lab? I would say not, but it is something I want to make certain that you are aware of because we have to take into account that when we enter commands in iOS, we get different behaviors between different protocols, and based on those default behaviors, we can have situations where we could accidentally have problems. Because the whole idea here is I just simply did my summarization by going down, and my summarization ended up being longer than the native mask that was being advertised by my loopback. So again, I just simply wanted you guys to see that. With that being said, what we're going to do now is we're going to move on and we're going to start playing around with another concept, and that's going to be a poisoned floating summarization. So we'll take a look at that in the next video. See you guys over there. Bye-bye.